Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Metal Sanctuary. Today, we are going to be discussing the top 10 albums of 1989. So 86, 87, 88, really strong years of metal. We pushing more releases by the prominent thrash bands, death metal starting to kind of emerge. You have some of the headbands from Europe and England still putting out great records. 89 kind of marks the start of a shift from there. Still a pretty strong year. Not as strong as the previous couple of years. Definitely not a whole lot of what I would consider great kind of honorable mentions to the top 10 in this list. But a couple that would be notable be Metal Church's Blessing in Disguise, or also Voivod's Nothing Face. Those are a couple of really good records. So getting into 1989, this is a year kind of right before a lot of some of the bands that would kind of supposedly sell out. This is kind of like the last hurrah for some of those bands, but a pretty strong year in general. So let's get into the top 10. At number 10, I have my first ever tie. As I was writing these down, I had 13 written down, and I had narrowed down to 10. And there was just one record that I just couldn't leave off. And if I would have left it off, something else in my top 10 would have had to go. And I just didn't really feel comfortable doing that. So for the first time ever, a top 10 tie. At number 10, the album I couldn't leave off, Annihilator, Alice in Hell. This is the debut record from Annihilator, and what a lot of people kind of consider to be their best record. I do think it's one of their best. I wouldn't necessarily say it's exactly their best record. They had a few records that, in my opinion, were just great records, and a lot of them maybe kind of had more filler than thriller. Tie it in with Sepultura's Beneath the Remains. This record has a slight bit left of the death metal stuff of what they were kind of doing in the early records, but then they kind of start moving into more of a thrash domain on this album. At number 9, Wasp, The Headless Children. Another record I really didn't feel comfortable leaving off, hence the tie that happened at number 10. At number 8, DRI's Thrash Zone, one of my favorite DRI records. At number 7, Carcass, Symphony of Sickness. Now this record to me, I think a lot of people would probably say maybe the next record, but this record to me kind of really started their shift from the grindcore stuff that they really were starting before, and then moving kind of into a more of a melodic death metal, and kind of being one of the forefathers of the melodic death metal movement. At number 8, Morbid Angel, Altars of Madness. This is their second full-length recording. They did one prior to that, but it wasn't. It was more just a collection of demo stuff. So this being like their real first true record, it really starts pushing what Chuck was doing with Death and what Possessed was doing at the time, and a couple other bands. It pushed it vocal wise, and also with the way that the music was recorded. Probably, if not my second, probably my third favorite Morbid Angel record. At number 5, Candlemass, Tales of Creation. You know, a little bit of doom in here. One of my favorite Candlemass records with Messiah on vocals. Just a very well done record from in my opinion, doom metal masters. At number 4, we switch gears and go back up to death metal again for another debut release, and this is a record that is my favorite by this band. It is Obituary's Slowly We Rot. They take a different approach to death metal. They do have the kind of the death growl, but not necessarily very inaudible. You can still pretty much understand what Hardy's singing, but they slow things down. Not necessarily a doom type slow down, but just slow kind of chugging riffs, and they're down tuned to where they're very kind of just like deep and really heavy. At number 3, I'm going to start off a trifecta of thrash to end things. Exodus, Fabulous Disaster. At number 2, Testament, Practice What You Preach. Now, I really could have put this one at number 1, but I kind of felt just overall music-wise, not necessarily thrash-wise, that the next record was the number 1 record to go with. And that would be Overkill's The Years of Decay. This would be the last album that they would do with Bobby Gustafson on guitar. And to me, it just has such great songs. For Elimination being one of my favorite songs. The title track is awesome. I think a lot of these songs still stand the test of time with Overkill fans and in the live show as well. So there you have it, my top 10 for 1989. Love to see what your comments are on this. And as always, stay metal and God bless.